In the grand theater of human history, there's a recurring performance. A new power emerges, struts its stuff across the stage, only to trip on its own legacy and fade into obscurity. And this isn't a joke or a throwaway comment. It's a cycle as old as civilization itself. If you think about it, every great power at some point was a rising star, confidently striding toward greatness. Yet none have managed to stay on top forever. Even the mightiest empires crumble. So, what's the deal? Why do empires rise only to fall flat on their faces? Welcome back, it's me. And today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of empires, exploring why even the big shots don't stay big forever. Before we talk about how they fall, we need to address, how do they rise in the first place? For that, let's look at a couple of real-life examples. You can think of them as the recipe for a successful empire. Let's call this recipe R-I-S-E. Number 1. Strong leadership. Good leaders are like the secret sauce for any team or organization, but they're especially crucial when building an empire. Imagine trying to run an empire without a leader. Total chaos, right? Some of the most famous empires throughout history were built by charismatic and smart leaders. Take Alexander the Great, for instance. He took his kingdom of Macedon, and turned it into one of the largest empires in the ancient world. His charisma and military smarts helped him win battles and get people to follow him. Another example is Genghis Khan, who turned the nomadic Mongols into a powerful empire. He united different Mongol tribes and created a well-organized army that went on to conquer huge parts of Asia and Europe. Both Alexander and Genghis were strong leaders who inspired people to follow them and work together to build their empires. Military innovation. Having a strong army is essential for building an empire, but it's not enough to just have soldiers. You need to be smart about how you use them. That's where military innovation comes in. Think of it as finding new and better ways to fight battles and defeat your enemies. The Romans, for example, were known for their disciplined legion formations and their detailed battle strategies. This helped them become one of the most dominant powers in the ancient world. Similarly, the Mongols had their own military edge. Their cavalry was unmatched, allowing them to move quickly across vast distances. They also used psychological warfare tactics, which involved intimidating their enemies before and during battles to weaken their resolve. By adopting new ideas and outsmarting their opponents, the Romans and Mongols were able to expand their empires and maintain control over their vast territories. Economic power and trade. Having a thriving economy is another key ingredient for building an empire. When an empire has a strong economy, it means that it has a steady flow of wealth and resources. This can come from various sources such as agriculture, mining, or controlling important trade routes. The Mongols, for example, benefited greatly from being situated along the Silk Road, a network of trade routes that connected the East and West. This allowed them to trade valuable goods such as silk, spices, and precious metals, which generated wealth and helped them build their empire. By harnessing the power of trade, the Mongols and other empires were able to accumulate the resources needed to support their armies, build infrastructure, and expand their territories. Cultural and ideological unity. Lastly, cultural and ideological unity plays a crucial role in building an empire. When people share a common culture, values, and beliefs, it helps to create a sense of identity and belonging, which is essential for holding an empire together. For instance, Roman citizenship was a powerful unifying factor for the Roman Empire. By granting citizenship to conquered peoples, Rome was able to integrate them into the empire and foster a sense of loyalty and shared identity. Similarly, the Islamic caliphates spread the religion of Islam across vast areas, creating a sense of unity among diverse populations through shared religious beliefs. By embracing cultural and ideological unity, empires were able to build stronger bonds with their subjects and create a more cohesive and stable state. So, those are some of the main factors that contribute to the rise of empires. Now that we know how empires rise, let's discuss how they fall. Overexpansion. One common way empires fall is through overexpansion. This happens when an empire gets too big, too ambitious, and tries to control more land than it can handle. Like, imagine you have a big house with several rooms, but you end up cleaning only the kitchen while the rest of the house becomes messy and unmanageable. It's the same idea. As an empire grows, it becomes harder to manage and defend its borders, especially if the center doesn't have enough power to hold everything together. For example, the Roman Empire stretched across Europe, Africa, and Asia, controlling a lot of land and different cultures. Eventually, it became too hard for the central government to keep everything under control, leading to instability and decline. The Mongol Empire, although initially super effective, faced challenges after Genghis Khan died. His successors struggled to keep the huge empire together because it was so big and hard to govern. Economic strain. Another reason empires fall is economic strain. When an empire spends too much money on wars or building projects and doesn't have enough coming in, it can lead to financial problems like inflation and shortages of goods. Back in ancient Rome, for instance, the cost of living kept going up, making it hard for ordinary people to afford basic things. Plus, Rome relied heavily on slave labor, which wasn't very reliable since slaves could get sick or run away. This lack of a skilled workforce made it tough for Rome to grow and innovate. Similarly, the Spanish Empire, which was rich from its colonies in the Americas, spent a ton of money on lavish projects and wars, eventually leading to bankruptcy and a loss of power. Internal corruption and weak leadership. Corruption and weak leadership can also cause an empire to fall apart. When leaders become too focused on power or personal gain, they may not make the best decisions for the empire. Meanwhile, corruption spreads and weakens the government's ability to function effectively. In the later Roman Empire, some emperors became more interested in luxury and pleasure than in ruling wisely. This, combined with political chaos and assassinations, made the empire unstable and vulnerable. Likewise, the Ottoman Empire, which lasted for centuries, began to decline when its leaders became corrupt, inefficient, and out of touch with their subjects. Cultural and social tensions. Cultural and social tensions can also contribute to the fall of an empire. When an empire rules over people with different cultures, religions, or languages, it can create conflicts and resistance. For example, throughout Roman history, the vast majority of the empire was non-Roman, and despite efforts to integrate them, many conquered people resisted Roman rule, which drained resources and contributed to the empire's decline. Similarly, the British Empire, which spanned the globe, faced challenges due to growing nationalism and independence movements in its colonies. People in these colonies wanted to break free and establish their own self-governing nations. External pressures and invasions. Lastly, external pressures and invasions can also spell the end for an empire. When outside forces like neighboring empires, nomadic tribes, or other challengers become too strong, they can pose a serious threat to an empire's stability. For instance, the Hunnic invasions marked the beginning of the end for the Roman Empire. As nomadic tribes from Central Asia, known as the Huns, migrated westward, they pushed other Germanic tribes into Roman territory, overwhelming the empire's defenses and contributing to its final collapse. And remember, empires don't fall in a single night. Instead, they rot from within until the slightest push from any of these factors mentioned earlier brings the whole structure crashing down. Now, here's something for you to ponder. Are we currently living inside an empire? And if so, will it fall during our lifetime? The story of empires is a tale as old as time, a never-ending cycle of rise and fall. As we reflect on the journeys of these mighty empires, we can learn some valuable lessons about leadership, unity, and the importance of knowing when to stop. Who knows? Maybe by understanding the cycles of history, we can play a part in shaping a better future and ensuring that our time on the world stage is both impactful and enduring. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the ages. If you've enjoyed this adventure into the heart of empires, Please remember to like this video, subscribe for more captivating historical tales, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, the stories of the past are not just tales to be told, but lessons to be learned. See you soon.